This week on thERINpy, it's best-selling author and world-renowned relationship coach Jillian Turecki. Her book, It Begins With You, is available now. I just inhaled it. Jillian was on my old show a couple years ago, but since then, I have had some healing, and obviously more time has passed since the last time I talked to her about my relationship. I feel like I'm in a different headspace, heart space, and she's back. We're going to get into my divorce, whether I'm ready to date, whether you should stay or go if you are someone listening to this contemplating divorce or ending a relationship. Please do me a favor and hit subscribe wherever you're listening to this episode. That way you'll get an alert every time a new thERINpy drops. And please consider leaving me a review on Apple Podcasts, or if anything in this episode resonates for you or makes you think of someone else in your life, please share it, send it to them. And now your weekly dose of thERINpy with Jillian Turecki. Thank you for coming back.
Oh my
Of
God,
course.
thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
I've rebranded since the last time you were on my
I
show.
see that.
It was Squats and Margaritas. I stopped drinking and wasn't really talking about fitness. And I realized my show is straight therapy. Every week, it's me going through whatever I'm dealing with divorce, co-parenting, sobriety, anxiety, all the things.
All of the things. Yeah.
Yes. And I mentioned in the intro, I just inhaled your book. It is so, so good. It hit me at the right time. I re-listened to our last episode and I'm in a different headspace. I feel like I was really questioning filing for divorce last time we talked.
Yes, I
And
remember.
now I've leaned into it, still not finalized, but it's been 2 years. We are not reconciling. And what I was hoping this would be is a little bit more coaching from you with maybe going through like the stay or go for somebody that is questioning if I'm ready to date, what I need to do in dating, and then just some gems from your book that smack me right in the head that I want to touch on without giving too much away from the book. Because, like I said, everyone needs this. If you're questioning whether to stay or go, if you just want to have a more successful relationship, if you are new to dating, it is everything. And we're going to get into it. So,
Amazing. Let's do
a
it.
lot of people's stuff like stems from growing up and like parenting and daddy issues. Yours quite literally did. You didn't have to go to therapy to kind of delve into where your daddy issues came from. Can you share about your dad's book?
Yeah, so I kind of want to reframe the term daddy issues because I
Okay.
think, yeah, I think it's more many people have um a parent whose love that they craved more or craved most.
Sure.
And, I had a very strained relationship with my father, um, which felt like it started at birth. And not everyone has not everyone has daddy issues, not
Yeah.
obviously not, right?
Right.
But I had a very strange relationship with my father, and it was something that haunted me, which felt like my whole life. And it
Mhm.
wasn't until I got divorced that I realized how much my relationship with my father and my mother, but very specifically my father, needed attention and needed healing. I went through life thinking, well, if I just don't think about him, and I could easily not think about him, like he wasn't very present in my life. But if I can suppress it long enough,
Yes.
then it's not going to actually, bite me in the butt in relationships. And so
Hmm.
I think that thematically speaking with the book, it's just this relationship with my father, this thing that was sort of like a thorn in my side, and learning how to reconcile that was a huge part of my growth.
Yes. And you said you realized it after your divorce. We're attracted to someone that reminds us of that parenting relationship, and we try to heal through the romantic relationship.
Yeah, not always.
Okay.
Not always. I think that's where the psychology world gets it very wrong, or it's very misguided. Um, I think that oftentimes we will get into relationships with people who are familiar, but that's so reductive, right? It doesn't always happen that way. I know lots of people who don't marry their parent when in,
Yes.
metaphorically speaking. But I did. But I've been in relationships with people, with men who where that pattern was not present. And I've been
Mhm.
in relationships with men enough times to say, okay, this is a problem. And so I think it's more that our childhood will show up in our adult romantic relationships. And for a lot of people that means in who they marry or who they partner with. For other people it's just how they watch their parents argue, and then you argue like how your parents did, for better or for worse, right? We are molded creatures by our family and by society. And so just this idea of conditioning is really important to understand.
And that was like one of the points in your book is making peace with your parents because you were able to do that and you had a different relationship with him. Like he wrote a book, The Difficult Child, and it was about you. And he was talking about it on Oprah. So you have
Yeah.
this growing up, but then you mended that and made it one of your like tenets of relationships, make peace with your parents. And then you won't, whether you realize or not, seek out relationships to heal it that way. Speaking of relationships, your other dedication is to your ex-husband. You said our relationship woke me up and led me here. Like, had that not happened, if somebody's like, why write a book like this? Can you talk about that relationship and like specifically what happened in June of 2014?
Yeah, I mean, I had a very difficult marriage. It was only 2 years, and I always say that our relationship before we got married was about 90% really good, like great in many
Wow.
ways, and 10% problematic. And you might say, well, that's a pretty good
Yeah.
that's pretty good. But the 10% was extremely problematic, like glaring red flags, profoundly problematic. So that when we got married, the 10% became the 90%,
Mhm.
and the 90%, which was good, reduced to the 10%. And
Okay.
so it was a very difficult time. And the way he ended things was atrocious. He did it via text on the morning that I was having a miscarriage and my mom was dying of cancer. And, it was the ultimate example of someone fleeing a relationship. Um, that I mean, he just saw an out and he said, "I'm not coming home." And so that was a very traumatic. It's traumatic enough that I it was just everything happening all at once. And so my life fell apart
Mhm.
and I became obsessed with two questions. One, how am I going to get myself out of this hole that I'm in?
Mhm.
And then two, what does it take to make a relationship work? Because
Mhm.
I was absolutely devastated that this marriage didn't work. I was
Mhm.
devastated by that on so many different levels. I was devastated that I couldn't make it work. I was devastated that I was going to be, the age that I was back into the dating scene. I was devastated that, I thought something was like deeply, deeply wrong with me. And so I went on a mission to figure that out. And so here I am. So to your point, um, part of changing your story, because there's a part in the book that says change your story, change your life.
Mhm.
If I had the father who I quote unquote deserved, if I had the right husband, if I was happily married, I literally would not be here today sitting talking to you.
Yes.
You have to be able to make sense out of the things that happen to you. And what I mean by making sense is create meaning out of it. And
Yes.
so that's what I did.
It launched you into profound purpose and like walking in alignment with exactly why you're on this planet. And had that not happened, you wouldn't be here today. Exactly. And you say the person you choose to marry is the most important decision you will ever make, but we're
Yes.
meant to get it wrong.
Yeah. Well, I would say not marry, I would say partner with. Like,
Okay.
we're meant to actually, it's very rare that someone, meets their first love in high school and then they are happily, they're content and married to them until death. That's very rare, especially in today's world. Most of the time, you're gonna have a few relationships where you fall in love and you break someone's heart, you get heartbroken, and you learn lessons. But at some point, because I don't think that if you're 18 years old, who you decide to partner with is a very important decision, but it might not be the most important decision you ever make. But as an adult, it is literally, and we spend more time trying to decide what we're going to like eat for dinner. Some people, I mean, or like if we're buying a car, we'll test drive and we'll agonize over a decision to buy a car, and many people don't take that time to really think about who's the right person to spend their lives with.
Yes, and if you meet in your 20s, you're projecting what you want
You're
to attract, like,
inexperienced.
and you don't know who. I would say at 24 when I met him, it wasn't that I was like pretending to be someone else. I didn't know who I was
Yes, how
until
could you?
almost
You were in
40.
your 20s. Yes.
Exactly. So then, Jillian, then how do people stay married? If you met in your 20s and then women evolve, men evolve into who they authentically are, and then they start to live as that, then it's like it's no longer a match. And I guess how
Doesn't always
people
happen
sustain.
though. Some people are
Okay,
sustain it. Yeah.
they just
Well,
accept
I'll tell
that.
you why. I mean,
Please.
the ones who sustain it, there's a few things.
Okay.
Luck.
Okay.
They've found a soulmate in someone. They found their best friend. But I would say more than that, it's values. They saw their parents married for 40, 50 years. They have a certain temperament. So their temperament maybe is patient
Mm,
and conscientious and open minded. And then underneath that, they're driven by a value system that says, let's talk about things, let's repair. And
yeah.
then a lot of those people who meet when they're really young and stay together, they're great friends.
Mm, okay.
They're
They're
great
getting something
friends.
else out of it. They're getting more like a friendship out of it versus this.
No,
I don't
they're
know.
attracted as well, but
That foundation.
they have that foundation of best friendship.
Okay. I saw a ton of myself in Your Mind is a Battlefield.
Oh,
Controlling, perfectionism, super mom. I need to control everything.
yes.
Um, and that is very overwhelming for a partner. And I can see how my ex, was absolutely overwhelmed by that kind of energy, chaotic, controlling. I am
Mm,
working on it. I am absolutely a work in progress. But
yes.
if I am working on, if I think the first step has to be, don't both parties have to admit to their part in it instead of, like, if I'm working on it and I'm not seeing anything from my partner, not even like owning their part in it, at some point, I guess I'm looking for, like, what is the line where, like, I'm working on myself, like I'm keeping my side of the street clean, and I just have a lot of things about vows and I signed up for this and better or worse. And we have to work on the marriage. Like, where is that line where if the other person is not giving that same effort, that you can kind of come to terms with, I have exhausted everything. This is not going to work. Like, I'm still teetering with vows and we signed up for this and we need to make it work. But I do feel like I'm the only person putting in that. And I guess I'm looking for you to be like, if he is not doing X, Y, and Z, or if someone listening and wondering, do they stay or go because vows, like, where is that line where you're like, there's nothing else that I can give to this?
Yeah, I mean, I think that if you're deciding to make a change in your own behavior inside of a marriage or a relationship, you have to be doing that for yourself and for the relationship.
Yeah.
And then I always tell people, just give and meet needs and do your best and show up. And if something doesn't change within 3 months, meaning if your change does not influence your partner to step up in some way, then after 3 months, then maybe you have your answer.
Okay. And we live in like the stories we tell about the other person, like we tell ourselves he's feeling this way, and it's like
Yes.
and that's so accurate. Like I could give his story about me, and I it's fair, but it's like we can't. I just feel like we're past the point of like we are both living in resentment and the story we have about the other person. Have you ever
Mhm.
seen like something work for someone who was, let's say they're wronged and it is justified that they were wrong, but they have so much resentment and pride about it that it's almost like their story and they can't get over that? Like something that you've said or a couple you work with where this was said and that caused someone to like put down their pride and stop the resentment. Like we're there. We're stuck there.
Yeah, a lot of people are stuck there, and that's where we talk about forgiveness and letting go, and seeing your role in the story that you keep replaying.
Mhm.
That, it's difficult if it's reached the point of contempt, where they're rolling their eyes at the other person, and even the way the person chews their food, you want to vomit, you just
Yeah.
can't stand it.
Yeah.
I would say I've never seen any couple come back from that.
Okay.
But resentment, yes, but it takes a lot of work and a lot of forgiving and a lot of letting go and a lot of accountability. Most of the time, the ones that I've seen be able to recover from that, you have to be able to see your role, even if it's a small role in whatever it is that's not working.
I take like spouse and vows, as I've already referenced, very seriously. And I'm like trying to, I also very controlling. I'm trying to like pull him out of a hole and almost like force him to evolve. And I like see his potential. And you talk about accepting your partner for who they are versus longing for them to evolve or grow. And it's not like I can't be with him this way, but I do see so much potential. I feel like he is struggling. And so there's a part of me that is like, as a spouse, aren't I supposed to be the person to be like, listen, this is not a good look. Like you need to, like, at what point
Yeah.
do I need to accept who he is and what he's able to bring to the situation versus trying to pull something out of him that may not be in there or that he may not want to evolve into.
That's a great question. And of course, there's nuance to that. I do believe that sort of an underrated love language, if you will, is tough love, and
Mm.
being able to say to the person, look, I see you on the wrong path. But you have to be able to be mindful and self aware enough to differentiate between, I want you to be different so that I can feel more secure, versus
Ooh.
you are on the wrong path. And because I love you so much, and also because I love our family so much, and what you're doing is destructive not only to you, but to the family. It's not just
Yes.
disrupting my internal peace. I am looking at it much more selflessly in that way. Does that make sense?
It absolutely like landed when you said that because I think
Yeah.
for a lot of people listening, you stay longer, even though you know it's over for the kids and for the house, for everybody to be
Yes.
together. And I am just realizing, and if somebody's listening to this right now, staying for that reason, what I was modeling is what my daughter will be accepting of in relationships. And
Yes.
the things that were happening that were toxic in some point in her life, she's gonna be like, oh no, this is love. This is what mommies and daddies do. And that was the reason that we separated because I was like, I will not, if you can't do it for yourself, it's like consider what you're modeling for someone that is watching you and teaching what love is and what they will be accepting of. And if you wouldn't
Yes.
want them to, then you can't show them. You're not doing them a favor by keeping them in a toxic environment. And I stayed too long for them. But was that really for them or a
Right.
disservice to them? I'm kind of stepping into that now. But I don't
Yeah.
say it to him like that, like what you're doing for our family. I guess the way you just said that back to me, he's probably hearing like, I need you to change for me. And for I'm not making it more
No, what
about
he's
the family.
probably hearing is, I'm not good enough.
He is good enough. If you are concerned about your spouse and their well-being and what behaviors you're seeing and what they have kind of their everyday schedule is just not, it's concerning. And
Yes.
you're worried about that. So like I have the guilt of like, he's struggling and I'm like, you need to go. And I'm his wife and vows. And I have to, but at what point?
No, yes, I don't believe in being a martyr in your relationship and feeling like um, you have to know what is intolerable. I don't believe in staying in a marriage that you're absolutely miserable in.
But didn't I sign up for better or worse with this person and to hold them accountable and be the person that pulls them out of this hole or not? Like that's what I'm stuck with. Like I
No,
have
I don't believe that there's vows that says that you're supposed to pull someone out of their
okay.
hole. Like, no, that's
We didn't say that.
impossible. Yeah, you can be there while they help themselves, but
Okay.
look, everyone has their different belief system, and it sounds to me like you're struggling with your own belief system, morals, and ethics around marriage and what it is
Yes.
that you're doing. Yeah.
So I don't think we're reconciling, and I know I don't have you very long. Let's talk about like how do I know if I am ready? I was going to say to get out there and pursue a new relationship, but is pursue the wrong word? Do I just need to be like in flow and allowing and accepting of like what comes next? Like I'm like a very forcing, like I have to date and I have to go on the apps. Like, would you say it's more of just like
Depends who you are.
I'm
I mean,
very
we're giving advice to everyone here, not just
okay.
you, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's me
Yeah.
doing live therapy. Like it's me like
Uh,
working through what I'm dealing with so somebody else can like get the answers that yes, but like we
oh,
could be
I
brought.
see.
How do we know we're ready? If somebody is just coming out of a long relationship or a marriage, it's very daunting. I'm 43 to think about dating. I haven't been on a date or had to like try
Oh, I'm
in
sure it's so
20 years.
scary.
So how do
So
you
scary.
even know you're ready for that? First of all, like this
You
seems like
won't know until you actually try, honestly.
okay.
And so, maybe the best step for you would just to go slow and, not really go on dates with the intention of meeting your next boyfriend, but
Yes.
going on dates just to kind of get your feet wet and
Okay.
to sort of see, like, what it's like to actually be in these kind of scenarios and keep it very, very, um, light in that way. And you can, when you date, you can even be really honest about that and just say, I don't know what I am ready for. I'm going through this divorce, but I'm really just dating to just kind of meet people and to see if there's a connection. But, I'm not really quite sure. You can be very honest. I'm not sure what I'm actually ready for.
The positive thing about dating though now is that I finally stepped into self-acceptance and self-worth and I'm finally projecting who I actually am. I've never done that before because I was always like
Yes.
trying to be so I would hope that projecting an energy that is actually who I am will I've never dated as this person. So like that's exciting, but also like and you have to be authentically who you are, you will attract not the match. You say like your authenticity repels the wrong people. Right?
Yeah, you have to be yourself. 100%. Must be yourself.
Just don't you want to like you want to be attractive and be you don't want to be like I don't want to say you don't want to be yourself. I'm thinking more like boundaries. Like you don't want to be like this is what I need and this is you still want to be like attractive and like flirty and see
Yeah, of course, you wanna have fun, and
but
yes, you
I
wanna
know
be
I don't know.
attractive, and you wanna be flirty and have a good time. I think you need to think about you'll figure out what it is that you're ready for once you
Okay.
put yourself out there. Yeah, and the anxiety that you're experiencing going out there after being married is totally normal and totally to be expected. But your anxiety will subside because right now it's like this big unknown, and
Yes.
once you actually go out there and get your feet wet a little bit and have some experiences and get some practice,
Okay.
your anxiety will subside. But the anxiety is totally normal.
Okay. And how early are we getting into like I don't want to like waste time, but I also don't want to be like I just said like here are my non-negotiables, boundaries. You're not coming in with that. But you also don't want to waste time if you're not on the same like how do you kind of introduce your boundaries and like what you're looking for without being the girl that's got boundaries on the first date?
What's wrong with being the girl with the boundaries on the first
Oh,
date?
interesting. Yeah, because then I just don't ever waste time. Because I just feel like that would I wouldn't want a man to be like even on like dating sites, it's like don't bring your baggage and all that. It's like who would say that? Like let
Well, someone
let
saying
us
don't
get
bring your
there.
baggage is totally immature. But why don't
Okay.
you think, so what are some of your boundaries? You need to, like, take some
Well,
time
n
to reflect on what those boundaries are.
not so much
Right
of like a
now, you don't
boundary.
know what dating is, right?
No,
It's a
I've never
yeah,
dated. I've never
yeah,
casually dated. It's always like I
yeah.
go on a date, that's my boyfriend, and then, like, I had 2, like, years of dating, like, a couple years of dating situation, then 24, met my husband, and I've been with him since. Like, I've never casually dated. So maybe my questions are coming from, like, how do you just not like, this is my if I'm attracted to someone, which is rare, I get kind of awkward because I know that I'm attracted to them. Like, I don't know how to be around someone I'm attracted to because it is such a foreign thing to not be with my husband and to like even entertain. I'm interested now. I have had 2 years where I've been on the couch with my dog and loved it because I don't have to account for anyone. When he has my kids, I can order what I want, watch what I want, but I'm getting it to the point where it would be nice to have a relationship. But I'm awkward AF around someone I'm attracted to because it's just so new.
Yeah, you have nerves. Your
Yes,
nerves.
I don't know how to do
Yeah.
it. Like,
Yeah, you
I'm
have
dating at
nerves.
43 for the first time because I've always been in a relationship.
You find yourself getting anxious, you just relax your body, you take some deep breaths, you say, "Okay, I'm feeling really awkward right now." And you see if you actually like this person,
Okay.
just as a human being.
Okay.
And maybe just have a conversation with them and try to see it as someone that you are looking to see if you could build a friendship with rather than a romantic relationship with.
And if we don't see it right away, like you say, like if someone is not into you, they're absolutely not for you. And what we do
Correct?
is we try to flip them. We try to like
Well,
prove that we
women,
are.
a lot of women, not all women, but it's definitely more women than men, have a terrible habit of trying to get peop people to be interested in them,
Yes.
even when they're not interested, and not reading the signs that when someone is not invested and interested, and thinking, "Oh, I can change it, or I could shape shift to get this person to like me," because we put so much of our worth and validation in the hands of men. And so you
Yes.
don't want to do that. Yeah, if someone is not interested in you, they're not interested in you.
Like when does that point? I don't know. I guess I have definitely a history of chasing unavailable men. Even my husband, he's like showing me I can't give you what you need. And I'm still like holding on, like, how could I say it to him so he'll hear me? It's like what you just said, like they're not, you have to have a shared like vision of like what is a life well lived.
Yes.
He is very content in the life that he is in right now. And I'm like, what are you doing? But so we're just not on the same page. And it's
Mhm.
almost like forcing, like trying to get him to like want what I want, which I thought we both wanted, but we don't have the same vision of what a life well lived is. That hit for me. Like we
Yes.
we don't. Somebody would always be sacrificing. You have to be aligned there. But like at what point does that come up? Like you talk about the cool girl and the good girl. It's like having needs versus being seen as needy. I guess I'm
Yes.
worried about at what point do we get to that? Like, how do we know? I don't want to like waste my time, but I don't want to be like boundary girl at the beginning.
Okay, so why don't we just take a little bit a pause from dating instead of
Okay.
trying to just be with someone else? What do you want to pursue in your life right now that has nothing to do with a relationship now that you have some freedom from a marriage that has been weighing you down emotionally?
I guess I've really grown this and like I started a nonprofit and I really put
Good for
myself
you.
into work. Thank you. I guess I've worked on sobriety and a lot of things have happened since he's been out.
Yeah.
So I guess I've worked on my evolution, but it's been 2 years and I am getting to the point where
You
before I
want to.
remember I'd have relationship coaches on and they're like, well, when there's a cute guy, I was like, there's no cute guys. And they'd be like, I just don't think you're ready. Cause I was like, there are no attractive guys. I don't feel that way anymore. So like maybe I'm
Great.
getting to the point that I am noticing people. And I will say when you were talking about boundaries, I guess it's not a boundary, but like a requirement because I did not have vulnerability from my ex. And he was very much raised that vulnerability is weak and you're a man and you don't cry. Like I would go as far as to say, is I require, I cannot do that again. I need a man that is willing to be vulnerable and share and just be like, I'm not okay. Like, not be like, I'm good, I'm good. Like, I can't do that again. So I would say
Great. So
that
that's
is
a
a
great
requirement.
learning.
Okay. So
That's a
how do
great
I, that's not too, how do you find out? I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. Like, how do I know if they're vulnerable and like, we'll talk? Like, how will I
Okay,
don't know.
so Just try to make a connection with another person. That's it. Share about yourself. Be vulnerable about you and see if they're receptive to your vulnerability and that they open up a little bit. That's not something you're going to know right away.
Okay.
You
And you've
know,
said if you want something in someone else, it's like you have to look at yourself. And are you being that? Like,
yeah, so, I wouldn't be going out in the dating world like looking for a man who's like gonna like be immediately vulnerable because men don't do that.
but
But you can be vulnerable, and men can be vulnerable, but they're not gonna just like right away necessarily. And I don't even know if you'd be attracted to that.
I feel
So
like I would.
I think well, okay, well
I need him to
then
cry. I need a
you need
man
him to grow. Yeah,
that is
great.
so, because knowing that they were raised to not do that, it's strength to me. Like a man
I
that
mean,
can just
I agree, but you're not gonna know that on a first date.
exactly. Okay. But that's what I guess that's one of my thing I need. It's a must have. Like I
Great.
need, but
Great.
it's
That's
hard
a
to
great
determine.
learning.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a great learning. Yeah. The whole point is to learn from our relationship history and to see what it is that we absolutely must have and what are deal breakers for us, and then to stay loyal to that.
Yes. You say before you end a relationship, communicate. Like, is that like giving it one more chance for that person to know? Like, I don't know if I filing for divorce, I feel like he's hurt and unwilling to work on it because he is just so hurt that I filed. And maybe I should have, like, if I were to do it differently, I wasn't clear on I am filing for divorce because these things are happening. Like people are like, oh, you filed, you filed. It's like you don't just wake up one day and file. You're filing in response to things that were happening. And maybe I didn't like, how do you end it? Do you give him like, this is what I'm thinking. I'm not happy, and give him like a time frame? Like, what, how could
Oh,
I
I'm
have done
so
it?
sorry. I cannot answer that. I think it's really so dependent on the relationship, you know?
Okay.
I just think that oftentimes when people end a marriage, it's not just one day.
Right.
Typically it's not the experience that I had. It's a series of a lot of different conversations, and oftentimes in marriages, as I discuss in my book, people aren't really having the hard conversations. They're not telling the truth to each other. They're not addressing the elephant that's been in the room for maybe years or decades. And all I suggest is that if you're going to start the process of potentially splitting up, provided there hasn't been this, some major betrayal or abuse or anything like that, or massive stuff.
It's like mini betrayals that fester over time. You say it's not like this one. That's what makes it harder. It's like if somebody cheats or like there's abuse, you're like, get out, it's over.
Yeah.
When it's not, you're like, well, maybe it's almost harder. But you say it's many betrayals that your partner has not made known to you and communicated, and they just build and build. And there's just resentment because you don't
Yes.
communicate it. Stop analyzing the emotionally unavailable person. I have made it my life's work and made a podcast to try to analyze what's happening in my relationship. I need to just be able to step back. Like you said, I did make a vow that said I need to pull him out of holes, and I need to just detach myself and accept that. And it's disappointing, but
Yeah, it's very difficult when you're married to someone who doesn't want to talk about anything and who is always shut down.
okay.
And it can make the person who's in a relationship with them feel crazy because you just want to understand what's going on in their head because they're
Yes.
not communicating. And it's
Yes.
very, very, very difficult. I mean, I don't know if I could sustain a relationship like that. And so it's not easy, but we have to remove ourselves from trying to decode the other person and focus on what it is that we want and focus on our communication. And if it's a dating scenario, you just have to remove yourself from the scenario altogether.
And maybe in a marriage scenario. You say the
Yes.
greatest seduction happens when we lean into our realness, because the confidence to be ourselves is what ultimately attracts the right people into our lives. It starts with us. Your new book, It Begins With You, is available now. Where can people get more from you?
Oh, they my podcast, Jillian on Love, JillianTurecki.com. Of course, my book is sold everywhere where books are sold. Yeah, and of course my Instagram, Jillian Turecki. So just know my first and last name and you will find lots of resources.
You're so fabulous. Thank you for
Oh,
making
I
the time to
appreciate
come
you
back.
so much. Oh, thank you for having me.
Of course.